Did you realise that some of the best things about you can be the things that scupper you when they're out of balance? And a bit like Charles Dickens in the first line of Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And that's the key thing that I want to show you right now, which is how some of the best things about you, your superpowers, can be the things that scupper you and lead you into burnout. So I'm going to use a principle that was first developed by a psychologist called Kahler in the 1970s. And what he talks about is the drivers that we have as human beings. And they're not bad things when they're in balance. So let's have a look at the 5 drivers. And I want you to see which ones ring a bell for you. When you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you get stressed, when all is not well in your world, which of these things would you guess might be out of balance for you? Okay, so the first one is be perfect. Let's just have a look at that. Now, to illustrate this, I've got this Arabian carpet. So these are pure wool, made in the Middle East, ancient patterns, very traditional and very beautifully made. Some of them are hundreds, thousands of pounds to buy. Absolutely gorgeous. But did you know that there is purposely a mistake sewn into every one of them? And the theory behind that is that there is nothing perfect except God. And so that this shouldn't be perfect either. It might be beautiful, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So when you are doing your next project, whether that's a hobby, a craft that you're doing, gardening, or whether it's a really important work thing, just be careful that you are not striving for absolute perfection, because actually that's not what we're after. We were looking for something that is as good as it needs to be for that particular moment. And actually, if there isn't a work output, maybe the process is as important, process rather than product. I try to say that when I'm doing painting, because my watercolours are not something that I would put in a gallery and nobody would pay to buy them. So I keep reminding myself that it's about the process and enjoying that, not about the product or perfection. So, do you ever feel that you're getting overwhelmed because of this drive to be perfect? Of course, it's driving you to do it as good as you can and to be, to make it good quality. But it's that extra move into perfection that means you end up beating yourself up and never being satisfied with what you've got. The next one is be strong. Here's a guy who is being strong. He's got ready for that. Maybe he's had, I don't know, skinless chicken and broccoli and rice for 3 weeks. Maybe he's been having certain substances to superpower his muscles. I have no idea what he's done to prepare for that. But A, he's prepared, and B, he's not going to do that for very long. How many times do you put on your superpower pants and think, right, I've got to push on? That's great in the moment, to be strong, to say, no, I don't need any help, I'm fine, and you push on and you're being very brave. And there are times when we have to do that, but when that's out of balance, when that becomes what you're doing all of the time, or just too much of the time and exhausting yourself, that's when we head for burnout. So being strong, even when you're not feeling it, can be amazing. Perhaps, you're supporting somebody else who's having a bad day and you don't want to tell them about your bad day because you're hoping to support them. That's great, but then get your support, get what you need. Okay, next one is hurry up. Do you find that your brain is like this? That sometimes you are so focused on hurrying up that you're not even enjoying what it is you're doing now, and you're already worrying about what else you should be doing and where else you need to be. If you start the day in a hurry, it's likely to almost set the scene for the rest of the day. And what's really important is that you are in a calm state when you start your day, in a positive focus, so that you can then cope with everything that happens. Because if you're always on the hurry up, you're going to have problems. And I'm missing a picture. The picture I'm missing is a Formula One racing car going around the track. They are all about the hurry up. They're all about going fast. But the thing is with them is they have hundreds of dollars behind them and they have massive teams. They only have to wear their tyres for a few laps. They don't have to make the wear in those tyres last for a year or more. They have lots of resources, and that's a key thing. And I talk about that in my care model. The R of the care model is about reality. What's the reality of the resources you've got? And if you're hurrying up and pushing yourself, but actually you haven't got the energy or the time to cram all those things in, then you need to have a look at that and get yourself back in balance. Right, this next one is lovely. Pleasing other people. What a lovely thing to do. You get a burst of oxytocin. The love drug. It feels good to help other people. Imagine that you went on a walk with a friend and they hurt their ankle. So you gave them a piggyback. You helped them back to the car. That's a really nice thing to do. Pleasing other people makes you feel good too. It's great. What happens if the next time you go for a walk with that person, they ask you for another piggyback, even though their ankle is healed? Hang on a minute, you might not feel so pleased about that, maybe not so happy to help. And that can happen if you are constantly on that one track, which is it's all about everybody else. It's about making everybody else happy. It's about always saying yes when people need my help. Doing that is going to lead to burnout, and it could lead to people taking advantage, and sometimes not even maliciously, just always assuming that you're going to do it, you're going to help because you always do. And actually, what that can mean is that they don't have to stand on their own 2 feet. So, pleasing other people, fabulous thing. We would be not much of a society if we weren't doing that, but it's about balance. And then finally, try hard. This is about a work ethic. And for this one, I've got a busy bee. Busy all day long, collecting the nectar for the honey, but also accidentally, in the process of that, spreading the pollen. So bees are really important, and they do try hard. We call them busy bees. They're the motto of Manchester, which is all about hard work. So why is this a problem? Well, because if that's the only mode you have, that you are constantly in top gear, rushing and working hard, and what do the bees do? When it gets dark, do they say, hey, let's invent electric light because we should be able to carry on all through the night here? No, they rest. They rest and they take some time off, and then they're ready to be trying hard again, to be busy the next day. If being busy becomes the only mode that you have, then you're going to burn out, you're going to be exhausted, and potentially you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make yourself physically ill, perhaps emotionally drained, perhaps mentally ill. Those things need balance, particularly that try hard. You know, if you feel like you don't deserve a holiday or some time off because you haven't worked hard enough and you have to go do some more, just check in with that. Make sure, and that's the A of the care model actually. The A of the care model is acknowledging progress that you're making and the little wins every day help you to realise, actually, I'm doing okay. You can give yourself some time. So these 5 drivers are things that make a good society. They make us good people. I'm not saying that there's anything bad about these. It's about balance and knowing in the moment, is this the right thing right now? So just check out that list and have a think to yourself. When you're out of balance, when you feel a bit overwhelmed, which of these is happening more? I'd love to hear your comments about that. Which is the one that you fall into doing a bit too much of and hard to find the balance? If you can notice the next time that happens, take a deep breath and relax your shoulders and think, what's the right thing right now? And it might be to say, that's good enough. It might be to say, yes, please, I do need some help. It might be to say, I need a break right now. I need to slow down. Or it might be to say, let me help show you how to do that rather than me do it for you. Or it might be to say, it's time for a rest. Finding balance in these things, whilst they're really good in themselves, the finding balance thing is going to keep you well and keep everything and everybody around you in balance. So have a look at that. You might think, well, actually, there's 2 or 3 things that I do. If you fall into all 5 categories, then please book a holiday immediately. And remember to look after your very precious self.